This tutorial starts with a song, but it's only a few seconds long.
Computer animation. Computer animation. Computer animation.
Let's get started with animation. Hello, today I'm going to show you something which does not work. Why would I show you something like that? Because I want to ease your personal feelings. Don't feel bad if it doesn't work for you. It's a fault by the developers of Maya in Autodesk. It's a long neglected part in Maya which needs desperately an update. We all learn from examples. These are, for example, the mesh, M-A-S-H examples. And they're so lean and you can use them directly that this does work. Let's double click this, for example, here, just because we like it. And we have something in the scene which does interesting things now. This is an example of something which does work. Nice, really nice. But it doesn't tell us anything about how it works. There's no description in there. But you can always try it out. But now I'll show you something which is not that simple. You can either go to Windows General Editor's Content Browser, that's where we just came from, and go to Bifrost Fluids. Bifrost is liquids, gas, smoke, little oceans. A really great module. And here you have the primitive Morph, and we'll get into this just in a second. You can also go to FX here, and under Bifrost Fluids, you can get an example. It leads you to the same page here. Now, when you click on the primitive Morph, it's a Maya ASCII file. It's quite big. It's 722 kilobytes big, and this is what it's supposed to look. That's the thumbnail. Interesting, you think? And it's called primitive morph. That means it morphs one object into another, I guess, with a liquid. When I double click this or drag it into the scene, doesn't matter, it's both the same process. Check out what's happening now. Nothing. There's nothing here in the status bar, and it's still loading this scene. It's so massive, and we don't get a feedback. We don't know anything. We think Maya has crashed. Maya has not crashed, because I tried this before. I would have thought something is deeply wrong, but nothing is deeply wrong. It just takes ages. The reason I'm showing you this is because this waiting process is just incredibly frustrating, so don't do it. When I hover the mouse over the edge here, I can check out whether the scene is loaded. Now it looks like loaded. Now I close this window. That was quite some time. The typical setup here in the examples is with a camera. This is the camera which they want us to use. Fair enough. We can look through the camera, but we don't need to really. What do we have here? It's the camera. Then we have a light. That's a parallel light. Directional light is it's called. Here we have a spotlight, so we have two lights in the scene. Now this is just a note here. The primitive morph geometry begins here. So this is just an empty note. It doesn't mean anything apart from telling us the two things or three things below here are the geometry we're dealing with. Now they are grayed out because they're hidden. We can unhide them. Shift H. This is just a primitive polygon cube. Let's hide it. And this one, Shift H, is a coil. And that's basically what this animation is about. It morphs a liquid from this box here into that helix. Let's hide this. Now starts the section about the Bifrost module. And the Bifrost module has many things which we don't know what they're about. And we cannot explore them really because it takes ages to run that scene. I'll show you that in a second. Before we get frustrated even more, let us check the motion field here. It's a motion field. It has attributes here and motion field properties, a magnitude of 1. It has a drag. It has affects geometry, and the scale affects the speed. Really delicate, and if you don't know what that is about, you cannot learn it here anyway. When we go to Windows now and to the animation editor and the graph editor, we see lines here. Geometry, maximum distance, and this has to do with a morph. When you go from one to the next one, this is the second force field here, motion field as it's called. And it has these lines here. This is enabling again, from 0 to 1, enabled. This is the geometry maximum distance, which we've just seen. And this is the magnitude of that motion field, which starts at 1, which we've just seen, and it goes up to 3. All this is not explained anywhere. And now comes the interesting point. When you start scrubbing here, all of a sudden the mouse freezes at frame 4 in my case, because it needs to run that simulation from the very beginning. And the liquid simulations are pretty computer power heavy, so we need the whole power of the computer in order to make these calculations. When we go to the very beginning, frame 1, and now we run that simulation, we're still at frame 1. It takes ages until it gets to frame 2, sometimes 10 minutes from frame to frame. This is a no-go. I'm sorry, Autodesk. You need to update your examples and show us ways to simplify these things in order to understand that scene. Because basically a morph with a liquid is a good thing. And when you're stuck here and you think Maya has crashed, then just press escape and wait, because this is really frustrating. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Oh, we're at frame 3 now.